bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right, let's go. What up, what up? How you doing? Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, March 23rd. 82 days into the new year, just 282 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. It's Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet, I am your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Great show last night with John Rappaport. Had a great conversation with him today. Wanted me to tell everybody hello. I just did. Very excited about the show tonight because we have a very special guest. Dannion Brinkley is finally here. His books include The Secrets of the Light, Saved by the Light, and At Peace in the Light. Call-in number is 323-825-5045. Tomorrow night is Thursday, by the way, which means it's Fader night all night long. And what we're going to do tonight with Dannion, he is going to be speaking up at the New Living Expo in San Francisco at the end of April. And we would like for you to be there. So tonight we're going to give away some passes to the New Living Expo. And we'll do that later on in the show. It's going to be great. All right. So if you would like to go and meet Dannion, I got to tell you, hanging out with Dannion, And like I said, this is it's been a long time coming, getting him on the show. And last year at Conscious Life, Rita and I got a chance to hang out with Dannion. And, I mean, just what a great guy, right? Didn't see him for a year, right? Didn't see him for a year. Comes up to us at Conscious Life. Jimmy, Rita. You know, and he's just such a bright ray of sunshine, and that's what follows this gentleman around. And watching him interact and talk to people, it's such a great experience. So if you would like to do that, and you would like to go to the New Living Expo up in San Mateo, south of the San Francisco airport, right there on the bay, at the end of the month, we'll be giving away some passes tonight. And, you know, you'll get some passes, but you'll also get to speak to Dannion himself tonight. All right? I want to remind everybody, when you support the sponsors on this show, you are supporting us. So please go to Life Change Tea. Get yourself some tea. Today, I went through the full round of supplements. I lined up the bottles. Boom, 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 boom. Took a double dose of a couple of things, but that's what I do. But I did it today, you know, and I'm just so proud of Life Change Tea and all of our sponsors on the show. But when you support those companies, you are supporting this show. Never forget that. That's what's going on. So, and it is cold and flu season right now. So if you order 2 months of the Super Strength Tea, you get the Moringa for just $5. I got 2 emails today from you Fade or Not saying, I got my tea and Moringa today, you know, and that just made me feel great. So there you go. All right, just use my name, Jimmy, when you order. You get the Moringa for just $5, 2 months of super strength, and you get free shipping. So go, do it for yourself, but you support the show, okay? Studio Dome, I think this is going to be the last day of the Fade or Not special hard shell case, surround sound system, wireless, portable, in a hard shell case with little mini cases, too, that you get for each of the surround sound speakers. All fits in the big case. Really cool. So you get 3 cases, not just one. Enter the promo code Jimmy. Get the entire system for $99. Help support the show. Go to Studio Dome. Get it done. You will not be disappointed. It's an absolutely amazing system. All right. New Living Expo, Dannion Brinkley is going to be there. It is April 29th through May 1st. We're going to be giving away passes tonight. Also, Stephen Greer, Nassim Haramein, Greg Braden with his hair, Scott Wolter, Catherine Woodward Thomas, Dr. Eben Alexander and Karen Newell are doing a presentation together. Mike Barra is going to be there, Laura Eisenhower, and Dannion Brinkley. And I'll be emceeing the event. So come and hang out with us, all of you Fade or Nots. The ticket prices are totally reasonable, by the way. Just go to the New Living Expo website right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Easy enough to find, easy enough to do. If you're going to be in San Francisco or if you live there, this is the event that you want to attend. All right. Now, coming up over the next between the New Living Expo and Contact in the Desert, we're going to have a lot of the Contact in the Desert speakers on this show. And that's going down the list. And you know who all of those are. And I'm talking about Graham Hancock and Robert Bivall and Tsoukalos. I'm sure we'll have Wilcock back. We'll have Von Daniken back on the show. I think we should get George Norrie on the show, by the way. I want to interview George. I think we should turn the tables and get Norrie on the show. David Hatcher Childress, Danny Sheehan. It is such an insane lineup at Contact. And I think we're just going to just get everybody on the show. That's what we're going to do through June. They have 50, 60 speakers up there. So, and then, of course, Roswell Festival and UFOs Within Reach throughout the summer. It's going to be great. And I'm just looking forward to hanging out with all of you Fade or Nots. So there you go. Fade to Blog is cooking. And if you do want to write for us, just send an email to Rita. She has a lot of candidates that have wrote in. If you would like to write for us, just write to Rita at jimmychurchradio.com. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you enjoy this show and enjoy everything that we do, we have apps for every platform. They're free. You can just go to the Google Play Store, go to iTunes, download our apps, Kindle. Everything is there, right? So it doesn't matter what your platform is, and it's only $2 a month. We have over 400 archived shows for $2 a month. All right? So there you go. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, and I think go to the media page. I think that's where the podcast is, and you can go and do it. Oh, if you just go to the homepage, it should be right there on the homepage at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, let's get this show cracking. Today, Blur. I like Blur, by the way. Well, that's how you make the list, right? Blur frontman Damon Albarn is 48, and Chaka Khan is 63. I was hard on Chaka the last couple of years. I'm going to take it easy tonight. Happy birthday, Chaka. Our dead guy's birthday today is Joan Crawford. 1908 to 1977. Died at the age of 69. Prima donna, yeah. Who won an Academy Award for her role in Mildred Pierce. In 1962, she starred with Bette Davis in one of the craziest movies I have ever seen. Still freaks me out to this day, and that is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Man, that movie is disturbing. When she died in 1977, and I remember reading about this, right? I'm like 13, 14 years old, that she like cut her kids out of the will. She did. Like 2 of her kids she had, I don't know if she had like millions of dollars, but she had a couple of mil, certainly. She gave two of her kids like 50 grand each or 70 grand. I can't remember what the number was. Two of them, she said in her will, they know why they're not getting nothing. She gave the rest of the way to charity or something. Incredible. Joan Crawford. The movie's good, though. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? All right. Follow me on Twitter right now, at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. You can email throughout the show, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. The sandbox is hashtag F2B. Come over. I like to say that we don't bite, and we don't. So come and hang out in real time. I have Twitter live to my left. Twitter stays live throughout the show. I do my best to keep up with it, but everybody else is there. Come hang out. It's great. It's interactive. And if you have any questions or comments during the show, you can do that too with hashtag F2BQ. I have all of that live to my left. And the questions, I do read them all. But it's real time. Come and hang out with the show in real time. It's great. Seriously. All right. Tonight, Dannion Brinkley is with us. Very excited. It's about time. And you know what? It's kind of funny. Waited two, almost 3 years to get Dannion on the show. But you know what? Honestly, it just makes tonight all that more special. On this day in history, in 1983, in an address to the nation on TV, President Ronald Reagan proposes that the United States embark on a program to develop anti-missile technology that would make the country nearly impervious to attack by nuclear missiles. That's right, the Star Wars program, the Strategic Defense Initiative, on this day in 1983, scared the crap out of the world. Fader fact, a beach was stolen in Jamaica in 2008. That's right. And the 500 truckloads of sand are still missing. And that is a Fader fact. All right. After John Rappaport last night, and going and listening and reading the news all day today, forget about Trump and Cruz and their wives. Yeah, that's idiocracy playing out. But I had to deal with what you were dealing with, which is, you know what? It's time to play some poker. Yep. Your friendly Friday night is boys' night poker. Card table in the garage with pizza and beer on the way. Poker. Card night. Card table. Folding chairs. Bowl of Doritos and some other GMO chips. Some salsa. Some ranch dip. Poker night. Yeah. Let's do this. Stay with me, though, seriously. All right. Serious hat is now on. It's time to play some poker. As we go around with the latest ISIS fear porn, I think that it's about time we call someone's bluff. Now, I'm not making light of the tragic events that have just occurred in Brussels or in Paris or anywhere else. Too many people have died. Our hearts go out to them. That's not what I'm referring to. But if ISIS is who the world governments say they are, and the media say they are, if everything is true, and think about it, you can go down the list. Humans in cages, being set on fire, beheadings, rape, swords on the beach, basically genocide in real time, ruthless, taking over countries. If all of this is really true, and that's the point, if it's true, then why isn't the world doing something about it? I mean, if it's true. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying if it's true, it's time to play some poker. It's time to call somebody's bluff because I'm confused. We need to find out. It's time to push your chips into the center of the table and just say, let's go. We are at that point because of the barrage of stuff over the last few days. And it's tragic in Brussels. Tragic. But if ISIS is who they say they are, what are we doing sitting on our hands? I'm talking about the world, not just the United States, the world. If it's true. Again, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm confused. I'm really, really confused. The first time trucks are paraded through town with 50 cages or whatever of humans in the back of them, all bets are off, right? At least back in the old days. Stuff doesn't happen. You can't let that happen. The world is compassionate, right? It's like an alternate universe is being allowed to happen, and we don't care. We don't do anything about it. If it's true. And that's what's important here. It's time to play some poker. For instance, if it's true, and that's the key, if it's true, why hasn't the United Nations made a stand? If it's true, why haven't they put together the largest multinational force in history and gone in and just cleaned things up? If it's true. I mean, that's exactly what the United Nations was put into place for. You would think that one country after another would be outraged and begging to put this together, volunteering. Let's go. Can't have this, not on Mother Earth. Can't have people lit on fire in cages and women and children raped and killed. And you can't. Slavery, you can't. Right? If it's true. If it's true, seriously, you would just slap together a 250,000 troop force from about 40 or 50 countries and end it. Do it tomorrow. If it's true. And I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that if it's true, why hasn't this been done? I'm confused. Number 2, Russia. If it's true, even Putin has a heart. He likes to play with tigers in the nude. He's got a heart, right? Of course he does. Now, they just went in and did this bombing campaign. And if it's true, why didn't they just roll through Syria with ground troops and end it? Total cleanup operation for them. Child's play. Easy. If it's true. I don't understand. I'm completely confused. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying if it's true, what the hell? They were just right there, right? Went in for 90 days and said, okay, we're done. Left it worse than when they were there, just like us. Same mistakes that we did. And then you have, let me give you another example. And this is what's crazy. This is the conspiracy behind it all. It's something just is not right here. If it's true, Iran literally could roll across the border, reach Damascus in 2 days, walking backwards through the desert. If it's true. I'm not joking here. Literally, they could drive with their tanks and trucks in reverse and be done with it. 2 days. 2 days. Done. Done. But no. And if it's true, why wouldn't they? Then last night I was talking with John Rappaport about this. Then you have NATO. NATO. Frigging NATO. You know, not only with Brussels and Paris, but everything else that has been going on in Europe. If it's true about ISIS. Seriously. NATO is just, I don't get it. It's like worse than the United Nations and Russia and Iran put together. They're the ones that are dealing with this refugee crisis. NATO, a serious walk in the park. 1 week of flying in some boots, few dozen tanks, end it. Seriously. And they could. If it's true. The United States. I'm not saying we should go. I'm not saying that at all. If it's true, we should. 1,000 Marines could take Raqqa in a day and a half. Walk through the city, doing the jig. If it's true. If it's true. But they just let it go on and on and on and on. If it's true. And I just don't get it. You know, so I started thinking, if it's true, what would I do after that cleanup operation with the ISIS army? I put that in quotes, by the way. I'm doing the quotation thing here in the studio with my fingers, you know, the little, right? What would I do with the ISIS army? If it's true. If you could call it that, but, you know, what would I do with them? Seriously. Of course, if it's true, I would build the biggest, baddest prison right in the middle of Syria. That's what I would do. Right in the middle of Syria. In the desert, surrounded by 50, 60 miles of nothing in all directions. You know, since they want it so bad, right? Well, let's build them a little utopia. 30-foot wall of concrete, 5 feet thick, 20 feet into the sand, no air conditioning, no guards, nothing. And I'd fill it. If it's true. If they are really doing everything that if it's true, that's what you should do. But they're not. That's what I would do. If it's true. You got an ISIS flag waving on your front lawn in Kansas. Off to Syria you go. Paris. See ya. Have at it, pal. You want it that bad? There it is. You'll love it there. Try the veal. If it's true. Because if it's true, that's exactly what would be going on right now, but it ain't. And it makes me wonder. There was something stopping everything, and I'm not sure what it is just yet. I don't know. But millions of people are without their homes. Their country is now a pile of broken everything. Nothing is left. And I'm not saying we or anyone should invade Syria. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if it's true, what we are being told, then why haven't we? It's time to call someone's bluff. Enough is enough is enough. If it's true. All right. I'm angry. Can you tell? And with the mass media and with all of the politicians and political speak that's coming out of, you know, Europe, and it's tragic what they've gone through. And here in the United States, it's just like I'm not buying it anymore. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Because if it's true, why haven't we done anything? Brussels terror attack suspect Najim Latraoui, who was earlier reported as being at large, was identified as one of the suicide bombers who blew himself up this past Tuesday at the airport. He was identified by DNA test, along with Ibrahim El-Bakari and two of the other airport attackers. The third suspect who participated in the airport bombing still remains at large. Not sure what to believe anymore. Authorities have not released his name. The fourth suspect, Khalid El-Bakari, died during the attack at the metro station in central Brussels. And then check this out. This came out today. This is probably something you have not heard about yet. Celebrite. Have you heard of Celebrite? Celllebrite. It's an Israeli mobile forensics firm that touts its breakthrough ability to unlock Apple devices. Yes, they are the one helping the FBI crack into the San Bernardino phone. Forensics experts in the United States describe Celebrite as a leader in extracting information from all mobile devices. Its website touts the firm's work with mobile devices such as smartphones, tablets, and GPS devices. The company says one of its products for analyzing information in the cloud is a prime choice for specialists in law enforcement, the military, and corporate security. The company is a subsidiary of Sun Corporation, a publicly traded Japanese firm, as it has offices around the world, including the United States, Brazil, Germany, Singapore, and the United Kingdom. The location of its headquarters fits with the odd timing of the third party's last-minute offer of help in extracting information from a phone used by one of the shooters, which came in on Sunday night, remember? While not a typical workday here in the United States, but because of the time difference, it would be Monday in Israel. There you go. All right. I've got a bunch of other cool stuff. I've got news on this new gravity scanner being developed by the British military. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And also, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, yes, is talking UFOs. He had a sighting with some teammates. Have you heard about this? I got the complete story right after the break, or after Dannion tonight. I'm going to get out of here. When I come back, Dannion Brinkley joins us. Hit by lightning twice. Twice. What are the odds of that? We'll talk about that and much more with Dannion Brinkley right after the break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's TAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletzky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your so humble host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me right now on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Come hang out in the sandbox. Very excited about tonight's show. 3 years in the making, by the way. Dannion Brinkley. He's the author of Secrets of the Light, Saved by the Light, and At Peace with the Light. He is loved and respected worldwide for his inspirational lectures on the near-death experience, and since 1977, he has worked diligently looking into the best way to integrate conventional and complementary medicine. Having survived numerous brushes with death, Dannion is an expert in the dying process. He was struck twice by lightning and has since survived heart failure, open heart surgery, ruptured subdural hematomas, brain surgery, and a massive grand mal seizure. That first lightning strike radically changed his life. Dannion became a hospice and nursing home volunteer, and in the last 25 years of volunteer service, he has been at the bedside of over 340 people at the point of death and more than 1,200 during their final days, occurring more than 16,000 hours of service. Tonight, we'll be giving away some weekend passes to the New Living Expo up in San Francisco, California, and we'll do that a little bit later when we open up the phone lines. But first, I would like to welcome, for the first time, believe it or not, to Fade to Black, Mr. Dannion Brinkley. Dannion, good evening, sir.
Hey, Jimmy. Thanks for having me.
No, you know where the honor is, man. It's all mine, Dannion. And it's I can't believe, and you and I were talking about, I cannot believe this is the first time that you've been on Fade to Black. It just doesn't make sense. But it does make tonight all that more special, doesn't it?
Well, I think so. I appreciate it. I mean, we've known each other and crossed each other's path, and I listen to the show on a pretty regular basis. You have a really good guest, and you're a good guy. And when you listen to your sponsors and who the companies are and the people who are coming to sponsor what your program is, you can't help but admire it. I mean, helping people with their taxes and keeping clean water and understanding what's happening in the world in this clash of paradigms. I'm really proud and very happy.
Yeah, thank you for that. And, you know, we work really hard at that. But, you know, the thing is, Dannion, is that what you do and our little small circle of friends that we have out there, I think that people are starting to appreciate a little bit more about how much effort that not only goes into this show, but just speaking the message and being cool, being fun, not being negative, and doing the real work. And I want to thank you. 16,000 hours. That's insane.
Just in one place. I have more than 32,000 hours at the bedside of 2,008 people, and 341 taking their last breath.
That's incredible. And
I've been a hospice volunteer for 38 years. I think that was just one place. I think that was at the West Los Angeles VA, which I spent 20 years there. Then I spent 10 years in the Washington VA. And then I work in 6 or 7 other hospice programs that house veterans.
So the VA over by UCLA on Wilshire?
Yeah. I have my national offices are there. The Twilight Brigade is one of the largest end-of-life care volunteer programs in the history of this country. After the third near-death experience, it was different from the first two, Jimmy, and I came into this realm of consciousness that the first 2 times I didn't have it happen, and I came in this realm of consciousness that what Catholics would call purgatory and the bardos for the Tibetans, but this level of consciousness that I never thought was a true level of consciousness. You know, I thought it was just a place where when you lifted out of your body, you would start to acclimate from this life into the next life. But I realized that it was a place of its own. And so when I saw how people based on free will got trapped, I had to do something. So when I came back, I created the Twilight Brigade, and I developed a training program that meets and exceeds all criteria. I helped write the standard end-of-life care model for the Veterans Administration, their model of a training program, and I'm pushing 7,000 people in 22 states.
Do you understand that, I don't know if you do, but when you walk around, you have a bright light that glows over you. I don't know if you know this, man, because I watch you, and you've got this, it's like a bright ray of sunshine that follows you around, and you've got this glow. Has anybody ever spoken to you about that? Do you have any idea?
A lot of times, Jimmy, but it's not really me. So for some reason, I am that portal. You know, it's like one of those places that I will keep my word. I mean, I will do what, as I'm guided. Nobody tells me what to do, but it is being guided. And, they kill me like every 10 or 15 years just to keep my attention. So
Right.
So a lot of people say that, and people who see the presentations, come away and say that. But it's just something. And I've seen these giant orbs, these pictures of orbs as big as me. But I already know that when that moment comes, there's that connection between the divine and me, or that connection between those levels of dimensions of reality that can focus themselves through me, because I'm trying to get people not to be afraid of something that is inevitable, and to realize that people are more afraid of pain or sudden fear than they are of the actual event. And we live in a world that is designed to keep us from focusing on that deep spiritual transitional nature that we're going through now, and we will go through for another year or so. And if you keep people the way we're doing, and bombings and terrorism and all that kind of stuff, and you make it religious, so you pit democracy against a religion, which is a perfect strategy. Okay, and it's the same thing that happened with the Ottoman Empire and World War I, which created it. So that exact same paradigm has been recreated. So when you know that that's what's happening, then there are those people like you in the show. You stand out, you radiate, because you're a good guy, and you're trying to give information to people that changes their lives about the world they're really living in, as opposed to those that are delivered to us and food sped to us as supposed reality. So I appreciate that, but I wish I could say that was me.
Well, let me say this about you, is you have managed to, especially with the services that you provide and what you do every day, but you've managed to maintain a sense of humor that is second to none. And I don't say that in jest, and I'll get to some more of that in a second. But when you are speaking to people, you are doing exactly the message that you speak about now. You walk the walk and talk the talk. But at some of these conferences, everybody is so serious, right? I mean, serious. No smiles, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, and
but think of this, Jimmy. I've been struck by lightning, just like you said, twice. I was dead for 28 minutes, completely paralyzed for 6 days, partially paralyzed for 7 months. And it took me 2 years to learn to walk and feed myself. And I had a near-death experience that was the most cosmic crap that could have happened to any one country redneck on the earth. Okay?
Right.
And that's what happened. 13 years later, I had it happen again. 3 years after that, I got struck by lightning again. It didn't kill me. It just knocked me unconscious for 45 minutes and threw me out into the front yard. Okay? And then 13 years after that, I had to have, because of complications from being struck by lightning, I had to have emergency open heart surgery to replace a aortic valve because of staph infection. And then 7 years of that, based on taking medicines, I had to have brain surgery. And they were going to have to do open heart surgery and brain surgery at the same time because I had a St. Jude's prosthesis valve. Okay, so the blood clots from the brain surgery would have clogged the valve and I would have died. They gave me a 10% chance, but I didn't give a crap. I could not take the pain. I had no longer could take it, and I had to have something happen. Well, once I went through this surgery, I spent 41 hours in recovery. They couldn't bring me out of it, and I was exploring this place I call the Blue Gray Crate place in the Secrets of the Light, this place that I wrote about where free will traps people based on what their motives are and their intentions and, you know, all kinds of things that we go through physically, emotionally, and then physically, mentally, and we emotionally form an opinion about it. So what I try to do is, in none of those three experiences, as horrendous amount of pain as any one single human being can withstand, bar none, what I lived through. Because after that, after I came out of 41 hours, I had a massive grand mal seizure. I went into cardiac arrest and was put in the neurocardiac ward on life support, because what usually happens to a person based on that type of surgery is they start having strokes. This is what the doctor said, that you start having strokes. But here's where it gets funny. I never died, and I never went to hell. So I've been told I was going to hell since I was like 5 years old, okay?
Right.
Well, when you don't die and you don't go to hell, you develop a very good sense of humor. Pain does not frighten me. And what appears to be courage is just a point that I think it's my job and my mission to stand up and defend people's right to tell this story and to be comfortable in telling the story and to be able to be there and back them up.
Have you run the odds? I know you must have. What are the odds of getting hit by lightning twice? I mean, what are the odds of that?
It's like it's 675,000 to 1, and twice it gets into the billions.
Yeah, right.
But I've seen guys that get been struck 3 or 4 times. Some had near-death experiences, some not. You know, because I've been around since the beginning of this journey. And I'd like to tell you something that makes me really, really proud tonight, Jimmy.
What's that?
I started a long, long time ago, over 40 years ago, in the near-death experience, and I watched it literally create careers and destroy careers of people who were just trying to tell and research the truth.
Right.
In April 2016's National Geographic headline, "The Science of Death, Coming Back from the Beyond." We have now made it to the National Geographic.
40 years. 40 years.
40 years, but I've got this in the mail. I got because I like National Geographic, and I like National Geographic because Fox owns the television, and I like the shows. I don't like the ones they have now because, you know, it's all about reality and that. But when you start to look to see that the distance that this experience has come to where to not look at it from a reasonable, emotional point of view is dumb. Because number one, everybody will be leaving. Number two, it is somebody you love or someone who loves you that will need you and to understand the skill set necessary to go from this world to the next, and to create a sense of closure which eliminates what we call long-term grief. I chose to be at the bedside, Jimmy, because when you go through the near-death experience, you have what's called the panoramic life review. And you will see your entire life pass before you in a 360-degree panorama.
So that
missed nothing.
Well, that experience, which we have heard over and over again, that is a real experience. And did that happen to you twice, or 6 times, 12 times?
Yeah, a million.
Yeah, right.
It just took one to get my attention.
Right.
Because what happened is when you have your own life pass before you, you watch it from a second-person point of view as though you're your own best friend, and you see the stupidest things you've ever done, and you see some pretty good ones. For me personally, since I grew up as a jackass, tough guy, you know, and you know me, I'm a big old
You're a big boy. You're a big boy.
Yeah, and I grew up like that, and that's my nature. That's how I was. I was tough. And when you experience something that you see your life pass before you and watch it from a second-person point of view, and then you're going to literally be every person that you ever encounter. And you will feel the direct results of your interaction between you and that person.
Right.
That is the most significant piece of information about the near-death experience that anyone can have, because if that's true, that's the only thing you can bring back from over there to over here and apply it in your everyday life. And the basis of your whole life will come down, and this is a Dannionism, but the basis of your whole life will come down to this. If God could not come today, and God sent you, in the life you just reviewed, what difference did you and God make? Or whatever you call the divine force.
Right.
Okay, from right there, I looked at my life, and I got tired of hitting myself in the face and shooting myself, and I decided to go be with the people that I most understood and could help them. That was how I went to go to veterans, because I understand what they're going through, and I see them being betrayed by the United States and by bureaucracies that is so horrendous that war should be thought unthinkable. And I've been there. I've been a VA volunteer for 31 years. What do I not know?
Nothing. I mean, everything. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that you do not know. Right.
Okay, and so when I look at it, and I decided that if God couldn't come today and God sent me, in the life I just reviewed, what difference could me and God make? Well, I could be at the bedside of those guys who are passing from this world to the next. I could try to save some of them from killing themselves. And I could be there to support the family members who, if you look at the statistical nature of veterans and their relationships with their families and what happens with PTSD and traumatic brain injury and all these kinds of things that are happening to guys, there is a giant need. Then I decided that it was necessary to create a training program to take the things I'd learned from the near-death experience and the things I've learned from every day sitting by the bedside for thousands and thousands, not hundreds, not thousands, but tens of thousands of hours listening to people's stories and listening to what matters to them, and creating a program that trains people to be able to not only help my veterans, but people that they love. And I basically think everything's funny. And you know, when you've been in my lectures, you know, I always say, if it ain't funny, it ain't spiritual.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk to me about God, you're not going to make me laugh. I don't want to hear it.
You said that. I heard you say that last month. And going back, I'm glad you brought up that point because, like I said, it's all solemn, right? Everybody is just, got their
So
serious,
serious.
got their game faces on. And you came off with that line, and the room erupted. And laughter was
two
there.
Guys fall out of their seat. It was one lady and one guy that was sitting. It's funny to watch how people do when they start laughing. And when I was making fun of Catholics, that was the funny one.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I don't know, you should write for. There's some comedians out there that could use your help. But now hold on. Let me back up for a second. I have told this story now maybe once or twice on the air. But I've never had an NDE, okay, Dannion? But I was close a couple of months ago.
Wow, what happened?
I was at breakfast, and check this out. This is who was at the table. My wife, Rita, who you know. Linda Moulton Howe is sitting next to Rita. Mike Barra is sitting across from Linda. Micah Hanks is sitting to my left. And then a couple of our friends, Gigi and his sister, are sitting in front of me, and we're having breakfast. And this is what happened, man. A piece of food, like egg, went down the wrong pipe and got lodged in my throat. Now, I've never had that happen before. Something electrical just got crossed up in my body, right? And it was just weird. Now, this is what happened, Dannion. It wasn't an NDE per se. But I literally, in the matter of a couple of seconds, had like these electric visions pop through my head, a million of them all at once. I can't describe it. But what did happen was I saw, and I'm not making this up, I saw like an X-ray of my throat, like of my skull, of my throat, an X-ray with this piece of food in my throat. It was bizarre. And then I coughed it up on top of everybody's breakfast. And I spit it out all over the table. But, and I lived to tell the tale. But the amazing thing that happened was, and I can't put it into words other than I had like a million thoughts all at once. I'm not saying it was this panoramic life review, but I certainly had like this thing that happened, and it was bizarre. And then I was apologetic to everybody. I'm so sorry. They were like, "You're alive." It was this trippy thing, and it was electric.
I have no problems with that, Jimmy. Think about the stories that I tell. I mean, I was dead. Okay, so I can easily understand that those are standardly called downloads. But remember, when the spiritual forces, because we're in a shift. I mean, I've talked about this for 40 years, and I talked about this time now, this time from 2014 to 2017. Okay, a year from next month. We will have centered into the transition of where we're going to be. And I've talked about the clash of the paradigms is what I'm talking about. I've been dead so many times till it bores me. I'm talking about living in the cosmic shift that we're living in that's going to have the old is passed away, a new world is born, and we must adapt to it. So what the divine does is they will pick out people or at times when stress or something that creates a fear-based reality, usually trauma, and in that moment they will download information that will guide you over the next couple of months or the next years. I mean, you don't have to be struck by lightning. I mean, these are the times when people are going to be fed, and I call them downloads, everybody calls that, will be fed this information because it's necessary to help people evolve. When you set up the direction of your show, there'll be some ritual or tradition that you hope that the show guides people to a certain point of enlightenment about themselves. And then you set course the energetic pattern that's moving from you, which allows those downloads to enter and go to your listeners. This is not a maybe place. This is where we live, and I have been conscious of this for years. You already know, Jimmy. I wrote a book, I made these statements of which became prophecies of the future. I call that character Dannion, because I never take all that stuff serious. You know, I laugh about it because the stuff has kept coming true for 40 years now. I wrote it in a book 21 years ago. Okay, and you can go back and read chapter 5 in Saved by the Light, and you'll see that I'm right about where we are and why we're there. So it's really, really important that people understand why it's important that you got the download, because you're on the mission. And it's taking you in a new direction. You're going there. I mean, you will move more and more out into where people can relate and see you. And that's what's important, because that information will come just like those little witticisms, and I don't see anything bizarre about it.
What we're going to be heading to a break here in about 3 minutes. Right now, with the way the world is feeling right now, the darkness that seems to be like everywhere. We're being hit from it with all directions, not only inside of the United States, but it's a world thing now. What is going on, and what can we do ourselves to shift this darkness and start getting it to go in the other direction?
I think that we're doing it. I think that we're doing it. We who are here, people born 1940 to 1967, we're the baby boomers, and those a little after Generation X is lost. But we're light bearers. We're here to hold a certain consciousness, a certain point, no matter what. I find it damned exciting, because I get to see the end of an era and the birth of a new one, and that was worth all the pain and everything I've been through to be able to watch it transition happen before my very eyes. And it's from the economic systems, the monetary systems, terrorism, war. The whole paradigm is crumbling. But that means a new one's being born. But these have been prophesied, Casey and the Maya. You go back and you look at the Hopi Indians. You take a good look at this, and you see that we're here. And what people need to do is stop, take a breath, and realize no matter what they think, it's going to happen, and they need to focus on certain issues, especially the things that cause them fear, so they can relax, they can breathe, and they can feel the wave of the divine move through them and guide them in the direction they chose and were chosen to go.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and take a break. And Dannion, when we come back, I would like for you, if you will, to take us back to the moment when you died, and what you saw, and take us through that and share that with us. Our guest tonight is Dannion Brinkley. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and this is Fade to Black. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Later tonight, we're going to give away some weekend passes to the New Living Expo. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control. and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at getthetea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. Getthetea.com.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you, and your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Hello, Fadernauts. Are you looking for the ultimate Bluetooth speaker system? Well, check this out. The Studio Dome surround sound system, featuring the Studio Dome 1 SD1 and the Studio Boombox SBB wireless Bluetooth speakers, is the perfect way to get surround sound without all of the cable headaches. With its own hard shell custom carrying case for taking your surround sound experience on the go. Each hard shell case comes packed with an SBB, 2 SD1s, cables, and power. It's just $99. And you use the promo code Jimmy and you get yourself some free shipping. Once again, Studio Dome brings you the best deal on the net. Anywhere. Just go to the Studio Dome banner, JimmyChurchRadio.com, promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your also humble host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dannion Brinkley is with us, author of Secrets of the Light, Saved by the Light, At Peace in the Light. What a conversation. It's going to be one of those nights. And you know what, Dannion, I didn't give you, you know what you didn't get at the beginning of the show? You didn't get the Fade to Black disclaimer for first-time guests. So I got to do it now. It's an honor to be able to do this, which is it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where we go, we go. We end where we end, but we're going to end as friends. There, you got the disclaimer. Next time you're on, you don't get the disclaimer.
Okay, I'll take it.
Beverly just texted. She said, Jimmy, tell Dannion my grandpa Riker got struck by lightning twice, too. One time through his living room window. Us kids saw it happen. The second time, we were standing in the church parking lot. It was like lightning just singled him out. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Probably had it coming.
Yeah, probably had it coming.
Every time it happened to me, I had it coming.
Yeah, right.
I don't ever... my relationship with the other side, Jimmy, because of just what I've experienced over a 22-year period, and I'm old, and I've been in the very beginning of all of this, and I've watched how it's unfolded and, watched the terms, and I've met a lot of people that's been struck by lightning. Very few ever survived what I survived because people don't understand. The lightning came down the phone line both times. I was struck by lightning talking on the telephone in 2 different bedrooms in 2 different houses because I never went back in the room where it happened. It's 1975. My background, I grew up a tough guy. Played sports, knock you out.
How tall are you? How tall are you, Danny?
I'm 6'4" and 237.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot, and I know that when I stand up to you, I remember I straightened out your tie last month. And
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was looking right into your neck. That's how tall you are. Okay,
I played sports, and
yeah,
I grew up that way, and then the Marine Corps. And then from the Marine Corps, I worked contracts, where what we now call contractors, what used to be mercenaries,
right?
But what we now call contractors. During that time in the end of the Vietnam era, you would send contract teams, or you would send, they had a lot of names for us. But it's guys who were adrenaline junkies, just like the guys who held Benghazi. They're contractors. They go in, you get paid $160,000. You don't have to pay any taxes, and you get paid. And this is how it all worked. And I was in the early days of that because it all started in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, and in Fayetteville. You'd find guys who'd come through the game, and you'd bring them in, and some people did really good work, and I did really good work, and so I lived in that mindset: you either knock it out or you shoot it, and that's the kind of guy I was. And I came home from, I think it was Nicaragua in 75. I think it was Anastasia Somoza and whatever we were going to do to them, Sandinistas rise and all of that stuff. And this is how I thought. Spiritually, I'm from South Carolina. Everybody goes to hell where I come from.
Right. And were you an angry person when you got back from Nicaragua?
I think I was angry from the day I was born.
Right.
I grew up, I thought the best way to get attention, to handle everything, is you hit it in the face first. And then you operated from there because I had brute strength. I'm big, and I'm a good fighter, and, it's just naturally that way. And I couldn't buy into religion. I couldn't buy into realize that. Think of this, Jimmy. Here it is, 1975. I see the world as it really is. I know what the world's really like. And it's not about mom and apple pie and all that. It's this, there's 3 gods. There's gold, oil, and dope. And these are the 3 gods that run everything. They run all the banking systems, and we're just pawns in all of that. So when religion came, and when I was a kid, because I knocked out the biology teacher, so I had to go. He left the room. There was a girl. She was beautiful. You know how you are when you're in high school. And I knocked him out. And I had to go either to jail or to some kind of deal. So what they had was what was called the RAs, the Royal Ambassadors. And it's the Fundamentalist Baptist Church. And they had these weekends for wayward boys. They didn't have Adderall when I was growing up.
Right.
And so I went there, and they went to telling me that the world was 6,000 years old, and I was guilty of the original sin, and they're just going on and on and on. And I thought I was just there because I knocked out the school teacher.
Right.
Here's what they told me. They told me I was guilty of what some people were doing in the desert 6,000 years ago. Okay? And what it boiled down to was this. There was this woman who started talking to a snake. Okay? And the first thing I thought, if a woman saw a snake, I wonder how long she would be staying around. And number 2, this snake started talking to her and convinced her to get her boyfriend to eat an apple so he could realize he was naked.
Right.
And that's the story of Adam and Eve.
Right.
So I knew, first thing, I knew I liked Eve already. She was a friend of mine, and I kept an apple with me for about a year after I heard that story. but I was not buying into that religion stuff. So I came home. I had my girlfriend. She was fixing dinner, and the phone rang, and it was a friend of mine, just a normal. And I like cars, I like building cars, and I it's just something I do not to think, and I like to take junk and fix it. And I had a 32 LaSalle, and he was supposed to fix it. And when he moved it out of the garage, he tore off the lady's garage door. And while I was gone, she was raising Cain with Sandy over and over about it. So Tommy was going to call me and tell me what happened. And I heard the thunder. And it's a Wednesday afternoon, 7:05 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon in South Carolina, Indian dog days of summer or Indian summer. And it rained. I heard the thunder once. And I said, Tommy, I need to get off the phone. And he said, what's the matter, big tough guy? You scared of a little lightning? And right then, lightning hit the phone line, and it came down the phone line and went in the side of my head. It went down my spine, and it welded the nails of the heels of my shoes to the nails in the floor. And if those shoes hadn't had nails, I would have blown to smithereens. It melted the phone, and it threw me in the air and suspended me in the air and slammed me back down on the bed. And I'm burning and I'm on fire. I cannot move. I'm paralyzed. The ball of fire that came through the room burnt my eyes so much I couldn't see. Here I am burning and on fire. Here I am paralyzed and I can't see. I can't move. And I'm all of a sudden sense of helplessness, this big, strong, tough guy. I was helpless. I didn't know it was lightning, so I'm thinking about Sandy and how could I get to her, and if she was okay, and if it was a bomb or a mortar or a hand grenade.
Could you hear it? Did you hear it?
I don't remember any of that.
Right.
I mean, I had no consciousness. And then all of a sudden, I lift up out of my body. No pain. I had movement, and I could see. And I could see myself lying across the bed, and I could see that the things in the room, everything had an energy pattern, animate and inanimate.
Right.
And I saw a plant, and that was set next to the sliding glass doors that went out from the bedroom onto a porch. And I could see that this plant was worrying about me. It could see its energy field, and this stuff used to worry me, but I've been here so long, Jimmy. I now know the guy who invented the lie detector test developed it by taking a lie detector and connecting it to a plant and acting like he was going to burn the plant, and it reacted on the lie detector, and then he went outside and thought the same thing and lit the lighter outside of the door, and the plant reacted the same way.
Right,
It's called The Secret Life of Plants.
Yep.
And I could tell, but I didn't know any of that. All this stuff was nonsense to me.
Let me ask you this really quick. When you were looking at yourself, was yourself on the bed the burning up self, or were you the normal self?
Well, it was the body.
So I mean, because that must have been shocking to you. Holy crap! I'm burning up. I mean, is that what was going through your mind? I'm on fire. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Wherever I was a lot happier than the place I just left.
Right.
I'm burning. Let's keep it in focus, Jimmy.
Well, that's what I'm assuming. You know, it's going to be one or the other, right? Okay.
Yes, sir, buddy.
Yep.
I could move. I wasn't on fire. I would watch it. But here's what people don't understand. Once you begin the process from this world to the next world, there's like a peeling of an onion. There's layers of Dannion that start to disappear because I'm no longer connected to this body. There are whole things that when you take back on your spiritual identity, and you begin to take it on, because it's a process, when you begin to take it on, you disconnect. I had no more interest in that body than if it was in India today. You disconnect. You begin to observe from a higher, more delicate frequency. I mean, this is what you do. And I watched them come, and she went next door and called the paramedics. Tommy came over. He was a corpsman in the Navy. I watched him trying to resuscitate me. She tried to resuscitate me. They loaded me in a ambulance, and I figured I just better go along with this since I didn't know what to do without that body, but I figured I better, go with it. And I can remember being in the ambulance and the guy saying, he's gone, and I'm thinking, gone where?
And how much time transpired? Do you have any idea between when the lightning strike happened and then when the both of you were in the ambulance?
No idea.
Yeah.
Okay, because when the ambulance started going, the paramedics working on me. He's pounding on me. He's on some headsets talking to the doctors, and I'm just cool. I'm checking. I've never seen inside of an ambulance, so I was checking it out and looking at it. Whatever he was doing was whatever he was doing, and then I heard him say, "He's gone. He's gone."
What was Sandy doing?
Sandy was on the way over. Tommy, they had come and they were going to drive her over.
Did you try to communicate with her, or she must have been freaking out, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me tell you what happened. They got me to the emergency room, and what it says on the admission slip, I have it. Patient unconscious, patient not breathing, no EKG. And that had been over 28 minutes. If you look at it, Jimmy, it took 49 minutes to get to the hospital. And I went back because I have no idea about the hospital or any of that stuff until like a day or so later. I was pretty, I was not in this world. I was in between worlds. I was in this body, and then I would be out of the body, and then I would be in the body, and I'd be out of the body. And I was paralyzed in this burning sensation because it burned all my nerves. It affected the lower left side of my heart. You just can't take that much electricity and think you're going to be okay. So
right.
They were trying to find nerves and sticking needles and things in my legs and feet and trying to see if I could react because I would watch them do this, but I couldn't talk. And then you watch all this, but in the course of when he said he's gone, I started down a tunnel. And the tunnel was moving whether I was moving or not. And I could see that it was natural. There's nothing about fear that comes in this mechanism. There's nothing about it. It's the right thing. You're in the right place. You're going where you're supposed to go. And you have a vague sense of there's nothing you can do about it anyway. And so I came into this place of light, and it was radiant. It was like, it's hard to say silver and light sky blue, and it was like a mist like you would see in an early fall morning somewhere in the Northeast when the fog is early in the morning. It had that kind of look to it.
Could you look down? Did you have a body? I mean, could you look at yourself and look at your hands? And
what I did was, this is always was curious to me, Jimmy, since I'm obsessive compulsive, either dead or alive. I looked at my hand. I'm left-handed, but I looked at my right hand, which is normally not what I would do, and I didn't see it. All I saw was this beautiful, silvery, shimmery, sky blue place. And then all of a sudden my hand formed out of this material, this mist. My fingers seemed a little longer, and I moved my fingers. And then I sensed a being, another form of energy moving toward me. And I turned my attention away, and I can remember seeing my hand go back into the mist. It was like once again, it was no longer necessary for me to see what I would comprehensively believe or comprehendibly believe what was my body. That type of psychological reassurance.
Right.
And then I turned toward this being, and through the years, it's been Buddha, Jesus, Allah, Krishna, Muhammad, God, everything. So I really didn't know who this being was the first time. But it was a sense of comfort. You know, it was even more comfortable, like everything was cool. We're going to be okay. And I always just tell the story. It's like this. Which would you rather get caught by, your father or your grandfather? Your father, he's going to beat your tail. Your grandfather, yeah, he's going to listen to you for 20 minutes, and you can probably still hit him for 50 cents.
Right.
So it's more like a grandfatherly kind of way with it. It took me to the second time to realize who that being was.
Now I know this may sound trivial to ask this kind of question, but and you've been asked it a million times. This is my first time I've been able to do this, which is, did that being have a form? Was it human in form?
No, it was like it had a form and outline, Jimmy. You know, it was pulsating. You know, when you see in all these shows about auras, and you have auric fields of energy and Crowdian photography.
Right.
This was a form that was human-like, but it was more radiant and beautiful than it was human-like. Okay? But I've heard people describe this being in 1,000 different ways. You know, but people have forgotten to realize that being that comes to meet them, if it's not a relative, because a lot of people are met by their relatives that come to get them to bring them across, and then the relative disappears and they still encounter this being. That being is you. No one ever leaves heaven. This whole psychology about that you left someplace and that you're going back to someplace, that's the biggest bunch of nonsense anybody could have come up with in 325 BCE, ACE.
Right.
At the Edict of Nicaea, and then at the 348 Edict of Milan.
Right.
This is where all that came from. You know, and for people to even begin to believe that that's a possibility, they need to take a look at quantum mechanics. No one leaves heaven. Mostly we're here as consciousness. And you think about how hard that is for people to comprehend who hasn't been dead. But listen to this fact, Jimmy. We know that physical matter is made up of atoms, molecules, and cells. And let's say there are 320 million people who live in the United States. And let's say that you took all the empty space out of every atom of every body of all 320 million. That would be 94.6%. And then you looked at the molecules and you took all the empty space out of every molecule in every body of the 320 million people. That's 98% empty space.
Right.
Then you take all the empty space out of every cell of every body in 320 million people, and that's pushing 99%. So if you take all the space out of every atom, every molecule, and every cell of everybody who lives in the United States, some 320 million people, scientific fact, we would all fit in a basic size matchbox.
Yep. Probably smaller.
Well, based on quantitative mechanics and physics, looking at it from a quantum perspective, I mean, that's what happens. You know, we have trillions of cells. But if you realize that there is less than 1% of you occupying this body, well, where is the rest of you?
Right.
It never left that dimensional reality. We project here.
When you hear, we have about 5 minutes before the next break. When you hear somebody share their experience, do you compare notes without exposing what you've experienced, but you're listening to them. And is there a moment where you go, yep, okay, they did experience this, because I know what I've experienced, and they just said the key thing.
Well, I listen. You got to remember, Jimmy, the near-death experience was taboo, evil, the work of God, because people saw a light at the end of the tunnel, and Satan's called the morning star, the greatest of all angels, and that's the devil.
Right.
I mean, I've heard it all. Okay, and I can tell you this: about 21% of every near-death story I hear is not true. It's not true. People use this because it's become an acceptable term in the mythology and the esoteric way of life in the Americas and in a lot of parts of the world.
Right.
Then by saying they had a near-death experience, it quantifies and gives them a valid place to say what's happened to them. But everybody who's had this experience has a certain tone in their voice. And I listen. I can hear it. You know, and there are people out here talking that use that as a platform. So I listen to people, but I can listen to a person's voice. You know that about me also. I listen to their voice. And when they're telling the truth, then I know it. And if they're not, I know that also.
Right. Now, okay, you're still here. You're still here, young man. You're talking to me right now. When you were doing the tunnel thing and you're experiencing that, at what point do things go in reverse, and how did that happen?
You mean coming back?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Nobody ever asked me. You know, when I hear people saying they were told
right,
they had to go back or you couldn't stay.
It's not your
like
time.
There's an article in the National Geographic. Well, I never did like those people, Jimmy.
Right.
Because if somebody would have given me a choice of whether I would stay where I was or come back over here, there's no question about it. What in the world would I want to do with that paralyzed, burning body as opposed to that where I have been? I was roaming levels of consciousness, which you would call dimensions, and I was roaming them and seeing the magnificence of what that next couple of levels are. There's not just one place you go. I mean, it's like you can live in America and you can say that, but look how many cities you can travel to and have just as much fun, or see museums, or see a rodeo, or, you know, see a concert, or, you know, listen to an orchestra. But we still live in America. Well, over there, heaven, if you look at Genesis says there are 7 of them. I can tell you for sure there's 4.
Right.
Because I went to them. And then I would come back and get in this water bag.
Right.
You know, we're basically just a water treatment plant.
Right.
and I would come back, and if you realize that if your spine was not curved exactly the way it was, based on the barometric pressure of what the atmosphere on the earth is, you could not walk.
That's right.
Now, why in the world would I want to do anything as crazy as that?
I wouldn't. You know?
No way.
Right.
You can have this. You can have this life. They keep sending me back, but they don't ever really get to ask me. You know, and I think that's the whole point. You know, say, well, let's kill Dannion, and then we'll send him back just to you know, teach him a lesson.
Let's take a quick break, Dannion, and when we come back, and by the way, Twitter is on fire, young man, and I've got a bunch of questions in Twitter. And one of them is, what were the doctor's explanations for you coming back in your full recovery? We'll talk about that. Our guest tonight, Dannion Brinkley. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRAradio.com.
Get the mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Not being able to fall asleep is so frustrating. The tossing, the turning, the adjustment of pillows and blankets. Ugh! Eventually you just decide to get up and start your day really early. It doesn't have to be this way though. Power Sleep is an all-natural non-prescription formula that will help you sleep like a baby. It contains neurotransmitter nutrients that promote the production of serotonin, which is responsible for feelings of well-being. Power Sleep is easy to digest and absorb and is made in a base of active probiotics. Don't miss another night of sleep. Order your Power Sleep at EnergyWave.com or call 800-TURTLE-5. Add Power Vites to your cart while you're browsing. Perfect for Monday mornings. They're a complete multivitamin and mineral formula that will give you the energy you need to get through your day. Nourish your immune system and feel great. Get all the info and place your order at EnergyWave.com. Enter code word SLEEP to get free shipping. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air, to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's out of here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With the mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dannion Brinkley is with us. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Dannion is at Dannion Brinkley. And, of course, his website is DannionandCatherine.com. You can just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on Dannion's name. It'll take you right there. Great website, by the way. Dannion, how do you explain the recovery? And is it normal for somebody to be, dead for that long to be able to be resuscitated?
Well, here's the game. In 1975, if you had no oxygen to your brain for 5 minutes, you were considered dead. Well, that would explain part of my problem.
I knew you were going to say that.
But they are resuscitating people up to 3 hours. The definition of when you die based on the advancements of cardiopulmonary resuscitation techniques and the advancements of pharmacology. People are coming back all the time. See, here's what the fun part of the divine was. When the divine saw that people were afraid of coming home, and that there were those who know as much about it as we, the spiritual-driven people, they know as much about it too. So they seek to control. That's what's happening in the world. This is all manufactured. It's not a real haphazard event. It's manufactured.
Right.
Because they know we're in the shift. They know we're in this place of consciousness. And they know we have to learn to relax so that we can feel the divine flow through us. So they create this for the next year, year and a half, so that we have never allowed ourselves to enter that plane or that realm or dimension to feel the empowerment of the paradigm shift. What I'm talking about at the New Living Expo, how they're merging and engaging each other. Well, what's happening now, if you can resuscitate someone up to 3 hours and you have MRIs and you have brain scans, and in Russia they are filming people living their body. I've seen it. I was in Russia last year. They've advanced cranial photography to gamma cameras and what's called red cameras, and they're able to photograph the difference in the heat sink of the ethereal self moving from the physical self. So when you have this kind of stuff, and you realize that most medicine believes that we're in a dead universe, that it's all chemicals and reactions, and when you die, that's the end of it.
Right.
Because that's how they explain drugs and chemistry. But we're in a living universe. And learning to recognize that becomes an important factor in the shift. So when you know that this is occurring to keep you from being you, then that's the time to truly be you, to find a way to meditate, to find programs like the New Living Expo, to listen to the Jimmy Church Show, and take away what really moves you to realize that you're a great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. That would mean only one thing could ever go wrong. You've allowed something to affect your dignity. And when people look at it from a socio-psychological or a psychiatric point of view, you realize that that's the core element of what goes wrong. Something affects our dignity, it changes, warps, or develops our personality, and begins to allow us to see ourselves either seeking solace or creating being self-empowerment. If you think about this, think about what our parents wanted us to grow up and be in America's godless capitalist society. The ultimate achievement is to become a narcissistic sociopath. Now, you look at every wealthy person, especially billionaires, and you look at them and tell me the ratio of the ones that you know about or have encountered that are not narcissistic sociopaths.
Gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah. All me. Somebody has $37 billion like Bloomberg, has $37 billion, and who's he feeding?
Right.
And you look at the Gates Foundation, and Gates is killing people. I mean, he's developing vaccines, and he's big on eugenics. I mean, depopulation is his big goal. So when you start to look at that, these are people who develop this, and God bless the good ones. I mean, I don't say everybody's that, but I've been watching this a long, long time, Jimmy, and I'm not afraid because I think that nothing's going to stop those who hold the light. Nothing is going to stop them from being that 3% that makes a change. And let me tell you one more thing on why I think it's so important. The people who deny our reality are the people who bring us back. Whose fault is it that we keep coming back? It's the dead scientists and doctors, cardiopulmonary resuscitation techniques, and pharmacology. They keep bringing us back. So I always laugh and say, well, I always think God is a woman. Because if I identify that place that I was with a feminine perspective, I can understand it better than I can from a masculine perspective, because from a masculine perspective, I identify it through me, which is a jerk.
Right.
But if I had a feminine flair to it, I can look at it and I see it more clearly. So if she was hanging out over there and she decides that, okay, these people, her favorite joke is this. Do you know the only difference between God and a doctor?
What?
Is God never thinks she's a doctor.
Right.
So she laughs and she says, okay.
All right.
Well, I'll let them reach a certain point, and then I'll just send a bunch of them back.
Right.
Now there's millions of us, and we're mainstream. We're mainstream. We made it to National Geographic.
Yeah, right.
You don't know how much fun I get out of that, Jimmy. I swear, when I got it, took it out of the wrapper, I had a tear in my eye because that kind of empowerment and growing up with National Geographic and still ordering it now for 50 years.
Right.
And here we made it.
Yeah.
We're part of the culture of reality that searches the world for the truth and animals and how we all are. And, I mean, that's a great moment of triumph for all of us, that's been out here pushing this and supporting these. It's the only reason I wrote Saved by the Light. You want to hear that story?
Well, in just a second, I do want to say this. I mean, it's like the oldest thing to say in pop culture, right? But we all grew up sitting around our grandfather's house with his stupid collection of National Geographics that he could never throw away, right?
Right.
So there was 500 of them in the house. But they were page turners, man. When you're 5 years old, 6 years old, there was nothing more glorious than an NG. And you would no matter what, you would never read articles about Madagascar, right? But you would. National Geographic made that stuff interesting.
And brought it home to you.
Yeah, brought it home. And
I loved when they did an edition on Africa because I got to see all those breasts and everything. They wasn't this, the way I wanted them until I discovered Playboy. But until I had Playboy, I was looking at National Geographic.
I think every young man saw his first breastises.
Ain't no doubt.
Ain't no doubt. Hey, listen, I want to get to that in a second, but I've got about 20 questions here, so we can do all of these really quick. Number one, Lisa wants to know if you can wear a watch or if you mess with electronics when you get too close to it.
A lot of times.
Really?
It depends on. Oh yeah, I mean I can take a digital watch, one of those little cheap digital watches, and I can make it change time.
Shut up.
That's easy. That's just an electromagnetic field force.
Right.
You can generate that. Most of the time it has to do with how much potassium and magnesium I have in my system. Because before I do lectures and presentations, I take liquid trace minerals because the potassium and magnesium increases that ability to connect. I mean, you need all 66 trace minerals, but I take an extra amount of potassium and magnesium because, a lot of times I read minds in the audience. I just pick somebody out and tell them what they're doing and what they're thinking. So I would say that depending on how my trace mineral levels are and my magnesium and potassium, but I can influence that kind of stuff. In the early years before I got completely back here, I'm famous for that. I used to float crystal glasses and I could move pens. I did all those little parlor tricks. But as I grew more spiritual in the service and the work, those things passed away and I gained greater access to dimensional consciousness. The biggest thing that ever happened for me is quantum physics because it explains spiritual identity and how the mechanisms work greater than any religion I've ever seen.
Damien wants to know, what are the four heavens?
Well, each one of them is the place where you enter. The place where you enter when you come there. And then you go home. We don't all come from the same place. I call them crystal cities, and there were many of them. It was like driving into Denver at a night when you're looking up in the mountains, you're seeing all the homes. We all go to where we came from. We don't all come to the same place. And where I went was to a crystal city, and I encountered these 13 beings, these 12 beings, and then a 13th being, and I began to explore levels and worlds that would become the future. I didn't know that. I'd never had a near-death experience. I would have never believed it. Even if somebody told me this story, I would have never believed it. But I explored that level. The panoramic life review was a level before that where you re-identify, you see the value of the reason why you came into this world and why you live this life, what you learned and what you didn't learn, what you taught and or what you didn't teach. then the crystal cities. And then those moments to understand that I was a cosmic part of this grand scheme of things, that I was as small as a speck of dust, but I was the entire universe combined. It was like being a drop of water or being the ocean. I could conceive it, I could feel it, I could imagine it. And then there was these halls of records, these places where it looked like there was just information, what now I'd say is a computer, but I was the computer. I could move through knowledge and information. But I was aware that there was at least 3 or 4 more, but I wasn't able to get to them because I began to thicken and become to be pulled back.
Right. How frustrating that must have been. Did you bump into anybody that you knew, any relatives, any friends?
Well,
dogs?
just to let you know what kind of person I was growing up, I've been over there 3 times and no relatives come to meet me yet.
Wow, you were a jerk.
But this bad, I mean, tough guy. Come on, Jimmy, you know. I had the power to back it up.
Right. And did you feel, well, it sounds like, and this is the obvious question, this happened on purpose. You deserved it and you needed to be set straight. Is that the message that you got?
I would have to say that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, and think about this. I didn't like it. I'm paralyzed. I'm peeing on myself. I can't get out of the bed. I hurt so bad, my joints, my nerves. I was a nervous wreck, and I had to crawl. And the 20 steps to the bathroom from the bed, I had to lay out change of clothes and toilet paper and wet rags just in case. This is the world I lived in. And, I mean, pain that a human being can bear every single day, day in and day out, and trying to learn to move. And my nose would quit itching an hour before I could get my hand to it to scratch it, but I was going to scratch it whether it liked it or not. This is the world that I lived in. And when I could finally get into the rocking chair so I could see the sunlight out into the yard, and then I would rock and I would go back and explore these worlds. I would pass through these levels of consciousness. I understand now it was that they would acclimate me to certain levels or dimensional realities that would come to bear as these years have passed. You know, I've seen so much of the stuff that I understand now that I had no idea then. But there's a couple of things I still don't understand. But, you know, I'm still here.
I've got questions lined up here, about deja vu, about UFOs, about the pyramids. You know,
I'll take them all. Let's go. Hit it. Next question.
Deja vu. What the heck is it?
Deja vu is when you have to remember you're working in parallel realities. You are living, and if you look at quantum physics, you see that you are occupying between 11 and 17 simultaneous realities. And if you've been dead, you know there is no such thing as the past, present, or the future. It's just the timeline that you're existing in, whether it's the past or the present or the future. It's hard to say it's all happening at the same time. It just depends on what level of consciousness that you're choosing to work from. Okay, now this is proven. This is quantum. Okay, and what happens is you pass through a memory or a complex strategy that had happened before that was a significant event. Okay, that would happen a lot of times as the brain, not the mind, but the brain constructs that reality. Okay, and that's just I believe in coincidences. I've just never seen one, but that's like a coincidence. But then you're mentally and ethereally, dimensionally changing, and you are going back through a past or a future self.
When my version of deja vu may not be the classic definition, you know, I have been here before, you know, that definition of deja vu. For me, it's more about the instant of seeing the future for like the next 15 seconds. Like, you know what people are about to say, and they say it, and you just write it out. What is going on when that happens?
Mind matter interphasing.
What's that?
Mind matter interphasing.
Really?
If you look at, watch this. if you look at what the Higgs boson particle is about,
right,
and the work that's being done at CERN, the good work that's being at CERN, not that cosmic shifting black hole story, but when you realize it, when they took the Higgs boson particle and they bombarded an electron, and then so that the photon energy began to bomb the electron bombardment of a photon. That photon proved and created what we now call dark matter, which is a really funny name for God, but it says that we're all connected and the universe is floating in this dark matter and that we're all connected. So when the yogis sitting on the mountaintop says we're all one, that's now quantum and scientifically proven. There is no physicist in the world, based on the Higgs boson particle experiments, that will say, those that argue because they need credibility, but will argue the fact that this energy that we all are connected to exists. So we're all connected. So there's an interphasing. Okay, there's an interphasing between you and that person based on service principle, a guardian, guides, whatever it is that the divine needs to be accomplished, and you'll know it. Like knowing when the phone will ring or knowing when someone you care about, people who know when people pass, they come to see them or they feel it. It's all a part of the natural, what we call paranormal, but I don't see any paranormal, Jimmy. I see dead people. I see people get out of their bodies. I see people come to get those people in hospice. I see rooms filled with light. I see this kind of stuff all the time, and I understand dimensional reality. And, you know, here we have proven that we're all connected. So no matter what anybody says, the science is there.
You mentioned records and information. Do you think you were possibly looking at the Akashic records?
No doubt.
Were you able?
I have no doubt about it.
What did you see? That's really interesting to me, Danny. Did you see? I don't want to make light of this, but did you see?
Make light of it.
Did you
I
see?
don't have a problem.
Okay. Did you see somebody else accessing it? Was anybody like getting at the information?
Sure.
Wow. What did you see?
You actually, I wrote it in the Prophecies. It's in chapter 5 in Saved by the Light, and then I wrote about it in Secrets of the Light. When you start to look at this, the probable possibilities, nothing's carved in stone, but everything is recorded.
Right.
And you choose to come and you're chosen to come, but that changes and shifts all the time based on your intention. It's never really what you do in your life, it's why you do it. You know, why that white light, and some people call it a blue light, why that just stays around me is my intention is to be of service. I need to try to reduce the fear of death and empower people to not be afraid of what they psychologically would consider abandonment by someone who has left them, whose time has come. And that's what my goal is, and to show that I don't not only live without fear of death, I basically live without fear of anything, but I don't live without fear of death. I spend my days and my free time at the bedside of those who are trying to face the inevitable, which is transition. That's Ken and I are writing a new book called 10 Things to Know Before You Go. And when you open up the first page, it says, what's the number one cause of death in America and most other countries? And when you turn, and a big question mark, you turn to the next page and it says, no matter what you thought, the number one cause of death is birth.
I was going to say, you caught me there because I was doing the analytical thing. I'm thinking,
right.
What, heart disease?
Yeah, brain, a stroke.
Right.
And then you turn to the next page and it says, remember, if you're breathing, you're leaving. And if you just took a breath, this book is for you. Because there are things that I see that people are not paying attention to. And I want this book out. I've taken 4 years to write it, and it's 210 pages. But I write in a way that if you read my books, it's like a conversation with me. And I won't be bragging, but they're deep. I write three-dimensional books. Secrets of the Light is a hologram. You know, if you look at it, you can read it one way, and I can tell you what to look at, and then go back and read the same chapter, and you'll see something completely different. So this one, 10 Things to Know, is a hologram.
Have your hospice experiences and your experiences with the VA, have they changed or reinforced your views on death with dignity, a death of one's own choosing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't never know when the bell's going to ring, but there's a time and place based on how many breaths you're going to breathe. People don't understand it's about breathing. I mean, it's so amazing to me because I've been without breath, but the breath you breathe in and the breath you breathe out is two completely different worlds. And the fact that when you breathe in, most people don't stop to think about this. You have to stop breathing before you breathe out. And just like these sentences, the words don't appear to have spaces in between them, but they all have spaces in between them. Mm-hmm. So the breath you breathe in and stop as it fills your 8 sinus cavities, and the breath that you breathe out are two completely different worlds, and you only have X amount of those. Some people have 5, and some people have 220 million.
Right.
But you only have so many.
What do you do, Dannion? And I know it must be tough. And with the amount of experience that you have with this next question, for me, is extraordinary. And I don't know how you've been able to do this for so long. But you inevitably are going to have somebody that just doesn't, that is scared, that doesn't want to let go, that, you know, and they know that the end is very, very near, and they're just scared and they're terrified and they don't. What is it that you say to them?
6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I would say
6 out of 10.
9 out of 10, but okay.
No, it's 6 out of 10. I've been doing this for 38 years.
Right.
I mean, you know, when you talk to me about death in the process, give me a break.
Right.
I've not only been through thousands of them, I've had a couple of them myself.
Right.
All right, so it has the art form. That's what the Twilight Brigade is about, and that's the Twilight Brigade. And one of the reasons why I go and do Kenny's show, I mean, I don't charge Kenny like I do everybody else. I mean, I just, you know, make him pay for me to come up there.
Right.
Because I recruit volunteers for my Twilight Brigade. I do shows because it's the easiest way for me to get people to sign up. Just like when we're doing the Conscious Life, I had 73 people sign up to come take the training, and this last weekend, 30 of them came and took the training to be at the bedside of veterans. And so I don't care about being the big shot. I don't care. You know, I don't mind, and I don't charge Kenny some outrageous amount of money. And I come and I'm there so anybody can come to the show and come to see me for free. And why I get them to sign up, and if I'm moving in the presentation, then they come and sign up, and I get them to come and take trainings in San Francisco, and my publishers in San Francisco. So all that kind of unifies itself into one position. But what you got to remember is this, Jimmy. People need to talk, and you need somebody to care and to listen. Because if someone gets to talk, they get a chance to hear themselves. And as they hear themselves, they tend to work out what's going on with them, and it develops closure. So it's the art of creating open-ended conversations and helping them work through it. And usually if you're there, because me with veterans, most of them has alienated everybody that's ever loved them, because veterans have a tough time, especially combat. Mm-hmm. And my crowd, which are Vietnam veterans, they're having an even tougher time. There's probably 25 of them a day that kill themselves. They're close to 40 people who kill themselves. More people are killing themselves who serve this country than are dying in conflicts. They need help, and we're betraying them.
So out of that, okay, 20 seconds. You can answer this before we hit the break. Out of that 6 out of 10, what's your success? You know, to get them to go, all right, I'm cool.
Probably 90%.
That's what I'm talking about. Our guest tonight is Dannion Brinkley. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Dannion, I'm going to open up the phone lines. We're going to take some calls. And we're going to give away some passes to the New Living Expo up in San Francisco. You ready? Take some calls?
Can't wait.
Let's do it. This is Fade to Black, Dannion Brinkley. Your calls next.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
If your home has hard water and it's leaving white spots, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes. Limescale can cost hundreds of dollars a year in wasted energy and early appliance breakdown. HydroCare systems available at Wave Home Solutions prevent and remove limescale with just a simple filter change every 3 years. There are no salts, chemicals, or magnetic coils. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, just go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
If you're a talk radio fan, AccessRadio.net lets you listen to the best talk shows anytime and from anywhere. Works on your mobile or landline phone, and there's no cost if you have unlimited minutes. No need to use your data. Find your favorite talk show listen lines and discover new ones. Now you can listen on your schedule. Go to AccessRadio.net. That's AccessRadio.net. Save your favorite listen lines today.
Hi, I'm Richard Dolan. When I'm not hosting my radio program, The Richard Dolan Show on KGRA, or writing new books on UFOs, I run a publishing company. I'm proud to say that Richard Dolan Press has published some of the most fascinating books available on UFOs and related subjects. They include Dr. Bruce Maccabee's classic analysis of the UFO cover-up, David Marler's breakthrough book on triangular UFOs, Dr. Richard Sauter's unique work on underground bases, and other classics by Grant Cameron, Chase Kletsky, and Dr. Bob Wood, not to mention intriguing works by Eve Lorgan and Laurie MacDonald that deal with truly bizarre phenomena. I'm proud to publish such high-quality and original works, and there are several amazing books about to be released over the next few months. Go to richarddolanpress.com to learn more.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Dannion Brinkley. He's going to be speaking at the New Living Expo up in San Francisco. I'll be there. Going to be doing a little emceeing, the guy with the microphone. And we're going to give away some passes, and we're going to take some phone calls, and let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Dannion Brinkley. Who's calling?
Hi, Dannion. This is Beverly Knoll.
Hi, Beverly.
And how are you?
I'm happy and completely filled with joy.
Well, that's good.
And how are you?
Just fine. I wanted to tell you about an experience I had with lightning also. I was sitting at my dad's house, and I was sitting on a metal step stool.
What age?
And I was probably in my 20s.
Okay.
I had already moved out. All those kids were all moved out. And I had just gone to visit him. And it was storming. and all of a sudden lightning came through the window, and it hit the step stool and knocked me clean off the step stool. And I flew up in the air. My dad was laughing at me after he asked me if I was okay.
How long did it take you? But Beverly, long did it take you? What did you experience? You see, what becomes important about this, about lightning? Lightning, because looking at it for so long, lightning develops a lot of things to do with what's called the shamanistic traditions. The Maya and the Inca call them iyapas. You know, mostly people who are struck by lightning, why I have in my thing the complementary and alternative medical policy. Most of them become shamans, or they become the witch doctor or the healer in the community. So after this happened in your 20s, what happened after you? Did you have numbness or burns or anything like that?
Well, it felt like an electrical charge went all through my body.
Yeah. How about hair on your arms? Your arms?
They stood up.
Yeah, so that's a static discharge. So what the stool did was grounded. It was the attraction. So you must have had water near it, or you were near a sink or something like that would create conductivity, and then it would use the chair to ground itself. That ought to teach you a lesson.
Yeah. Hey, Beverly. Beverly,
Yes, sir.
thank you for the phone call so much, and that's a great story. And you came out okay. That's the point.
Love you, Beverly.
Well, I love you too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Beverly. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Dannion Brinkley. Who's calling?
Hi, Dannion. This is Lisa from San Francisco.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. I'm so glad to be listening to you and Jimmy tonight. The show is just amazing, and you're saying so many things that really I can really connect with and relate to.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's wonderful to get confirmation, because we live in this world where so many people don't believe in these extraordinary experiences that people have because you can't recreate them in a lab. They're very personal, but they're just as real as anything else.
Oh, there's no question in my mind, and there's a lot of reasons out there to not believe a lot of stuff because, I mean, we live in a world of pure lies. So I am certainly glad that Jimmy and I are contributing to the validity of you recognizing the deep spiritual nature of yourself. Do you have a question?
Actually, I didn't really have.
Think fast.
Yeah, Lisa. I know you have a million. Okay, so just do one.
Okay. Well, Dannion, when you were speaking about how about time and how it isn't just this river flowing in one direction, and there's an infinite number of nows happening, and it's just some of the things that you said just really resonated with me. And I've had experiences where I heard disembodied voices, and I've been able to get them on tape. But I all of a sudden had this
electro voice phenomena.
Yes, and when you were speaking, I suddenly had this. I think it was a realization that I think some of the ones that I speak to are possibly other me's. If that makes any sense.
Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. We live in this world. We are multidimensional creatures. I have no question about it. I mean, I have none. But I can tell you something, too, about you, Lise. Lise, you need to pay attention to hydration. I can hear in your voice that you are dehydrated. That means you're not drinking enough water. And you're replacing water with some kind of beverage as opposed to just drinking water. That means you're probably having knee problems because the dehydration leads to inflammation. And I'll bet you that you have some small neck problems, probably on your right side. And I think that's because of how you sit every day.
How do you know that, Dannion? That's incredible.
I can listen to her voice and I can feel her. I can feel
intuitively.
Lisa, let me. I have to ask you. Do you drink enough water?
I don't. I don't ever get thirsty, so I tend to forget to drink just plain water. But I have a bottle right next to me right now, and I'll make sure to drink it all.
Listen
That's my baby.
Listen to Dannion. That's incredible.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Lisa, do you want to go to the New Living Expo?
I would love to. I would be so thrilled to go to the New Living Expo, definitely.
Okay, well, we'll set you up with a full weekend pass, and just write Rita an email, and we'll get you all set up, and there you go. And then you can come hang out with Dannion.
Oh, I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting you, Dannion. And again, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, I think Dannion...
all that you've done.
And there'll be a lot of hugging and kissing coming on because Catherine always comes with me, my wife, and so she doesn't get too weird because I like hugging. And so you might as well get ready for some serious hugging when I see you and meet you.
Yeah, and Dannion said earlier tonight before the show, he said he's buying all ticket winners dinner at Morton's across the street. So there you go, Lisa.
Oh, that's fantastic. That'll be wonderful.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I don't think there's a Morton's across the street, so it's okay to tell.
Yeah, right.
I'll be like a burger.
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa. We'll see
Thanks,
you.
Lise.
We'll see you in a few short
Thank you,
weeks.
Jimmy.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Dannion.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
Bye.
That's interesting. When she said that it was that maybe she was talking to herself, and you even kind of mentioned that earlier this evening. So that's...
Sure, because think of this: equal to the fact of time, space. The Earth. Why there's 24 hours in a day is the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
Okay, so that means that when you put all this into perspective, you think there's such thing as time? Well, that means you're moving spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and there is a force that is pulling our galaxy, our 1.7 or 8 billion planets and stars. It's pulling it at 12 million miles an hour through the universe at this very moment. So when people start thinking about time and space and the multidimensional possibilities of reality, if you can grip spinning at 1,000 miles an hour as you're listening to this phone call and you're being pulled at 12 million miles an hour, all of a sudden the conversations that you and I are having are very sane and very practical about whether there's a life after death, Jimmy.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Dannion Brinkley. Who's calling?
Hi, Mr. Brinkley. This is Tammy. I am so excited about you being on tonight. I'm also a survivor, had an LAD, and yours differs a little bit from mine. And I just, I kind of wondering a few things. I have tons of questions, but I'm going to only ask a couple. When you had your life after death, what was your experience? What were you feeling? Was it like a numb or like you'd been there before?
Well, what it was that it's hard to put into words, Tam, but
right.
Like this.
I know.
You know this, but I was one with everything and everything was one with me. But the thing that was so wonderful about it is I could feel that I was connected, that there was no separation, but I could feel that that connection was being recognized by what I say is the force of the divine flow. I could feel that it recognized me. This is something that's like so important to people
like
to
understand.
understand.
It was a part of you that it was like flowing out of you, right?
And you were a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing I felt. Now, you mentioned you've seen 4 heavens?
Well, 4-dimensional realities in heaven, and the Bible says there's 7.
I only got to see 1. So in a way, I'm a little bit jealous. My brother came to see me when I got shot in the head. All right, this is what happened to me. He died a year before being crushed by a log loader in its carrier. And I'm with you. People that get a choice to stay, that come back, are idiots. I literally, if I wasn't told I had to come home, that I could not follow him.
So it was your brother, Tim, that told you that you had to come back?
So
it was your brother who told you that you had to come back?
Yes. My little brother, I wasn't mean enough to him.
Yeah, that's all I can figure.
Right, I wasn't mean enough to him.
Nobody ever gives me a chance. I'm coming.
I am so glad you're on Fade to Black, and please come back again. This is like, I called in once for an LAD, and I could not explain it, and I think people out there need to know that it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. For me, mine was like marshmallows, walking on marshmallows. I felt so light. I just, like floating on your back in water. It was just so amazing, and it felt like everything I ever wanted was there.
Well, you see, that's the key, and to realize that is what awaits us. I never push support things like suicide, because I think that we each make a commitment to come and breathe X amount of breath. And no matter what we've done to ourselves or didn't do with ourselves, or we have RNA or DNA malfunctions that can give us predisposed positions in certain illnesses, and the fact that the environment they design foods and ways and lifestyles that kill us. But nothing ever happens to people who commit suicide. It's just a big deal that was made up by the first
religion.
Well, the Hebrews did it and the Catholics did it because if they didn't own and control your life, then then you would have free will to make choices, and then they couldn't create the 8 to 15-hour day that you would have to work so that you could tithe and support the church. And that's basically how we all still function. It's just that we've created republics and democracies and parliamentarial protocols, but it's still all driven by religion.
I do not agree with, I don't believe in organized religion. I never have. But my next question is, what did your experience change you? I don't mean in magical ways, like you could create this or know that. But mentally, physically, did your experience change you for a cleaner thought, or?
Well, it took me from being a complete bully, arrogant, pompous prick to becoming the hospice volunteer.
Same thing to me.
Serves you right.
Same thing to me. It just wastes. I tell people the best thing that ever happened to me was getting shot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I'm not kidding.
And then forgiving the person that shot you.
They're just like, really?
Yeah, I get it. And then forgiving the person, where your power is forgiving the person who did it.
Exactly.
And then all you can do is just wait till you see your brother again.
I am going to get a hold of you somehow. I'm serious. Please come back to Fade to Black. This whole night has been like, I'm sitting there going, somebody that understands. Yes.
Thank you,
you have no idea.
And appreciate that. But just go to Dannion and Catherine. This whole thing about me being on this show was a conspiracy between Jimmy's wife and my wife.
Yeah,
they conspired.
They conspired against the two
well,
men.
I mean,
Jimmy, give Rita a kiss.
Yeah, I will.
Mr.
Thank you so much
Dannion,
for the call,
please give your wife a big kiss. And
I shall do that.
From Tammy.
Thank you, Tam.
Thank you, Tammy. A couple of quick questions before we go back to the phone lines really quick that we have here. Jimmy, please ask Dannion if it was ever revealed to him why people smoke cigarettes.
Okay, well, why people smoke cigarettes is it became a fad. We create fads, clothing. Everybody life is based on relationships. Okay, and relationships are how what a relationship is basically in human consciousness is based on gratification or preservation. So what happens is when tobacco became a fad in England, when Captain Cook took it back, Sir Walter Raleigh took it back, which was the part of smoking tobacco became the peace pipe, and it became a recognized fad like beaver hats in England, and England ruled the world. So cigarettes became a way to represent the new world, and that you'd been to and had something that you brought back, like most people want Cuban cigars. So once that became a point, the tobacco companies began to make tobacco cigarettes, and then they began to put it in films and movies, and then the people that you associate and related to smoked, so you smoked, and it became a cultural consciousness. Well, what we don't realize is now is the thing that's addictive about cigarette smoking is chocolate. There are 98 chemicals in cigarettes. They don't grade the tobacco anymore, and they mix all these chemicals. But the largest importer of chocolate, of coca, in the United States is cigarette-producing companies, because they strip that enzyme, like chocolate is addictive, and it releases endorphins. Then you create, with nicotine, it creates that soothes the nerves because it's releasing endorphins, and it's combined with the enzyme of chocolate. So what people who are smoking cigarettes is this. They need something to do with their hands. It's mostly a hand habit, or a habit of something to do, because people smoke more when they're drinking and socializing, and because there's a slight addiction. If you look at all the nicotine patches and all those companies, you can bet that the tobacco companies are invested in those pharmaceutical companies because they don't care about nicotine. And the third reason why people smoke is that they're stupid.
I was waiting for the punchline. There you go. Came right in. What do you think about people that channel? And do you have that ability now? And specifically like Seth or Palladians or
but
E.T.
Seth is complete. That's Jane Roberts.
Yes.
I'm empathic. There's no question. You've seen my show. You just like the lady who called. I don't have any problems about it.
Right.
I can listen to the tones in your voice, and I can know things about you. And I think it came from two things. The fact that I know I don't die. And the other thing is that when you electrify the body, there are certain senses that become enhanced. And so I spend a lot of time developing the skill, because when I come across people, maybe I might know them a month, or I may know them only a day. And I have to listen to them so I can perceive what's troubling them and what's going on in their life, so I can so I can help them bring it out and create closure for them, and to know that somebody cared, that you served and you cared. So by doing that, I have honed this skill. I mean, if you go on the Dannion and Catherine website, there's a section where people come, and it's amazing to me, Jimmy. They come from like 20 countries. I don't know how in the hell people find me, but they find me, and, Cat books those, because I stay in the zone. I do them all at once. But when people need that place, I tell the truth. And I can pick up so many things that goes on by listening to your voice. And, well, you'll see with people who come to the program that I'm doing, what the last 15 or 20 minutes is about. It's not whether I say that I can channel, although that does sometime occur. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm not trying to be John Edwards or James Von Prague or any of those people. But when people ask me questions, I can instantly access the record based on the tone and the reason why they're asking. And then I can access the record, and from the record I can usually find that being, or that being would be drawn to slow down its frequency to draw itself back into the record to re-identify itself as the person that they were to the person on this side that's seeking. And it happens a lot of times. I mean, I'm pretty famous for all of that.
What about the psychedelic side of it? LSD and DMT and mushrooms to experience something close to an NDE, or to go into another dimension.
Well, I've heard these stories. I don't think I've ever done any of that. I mean, I have a suspicion that the skill set that I have, you can't get any higher than I've been. I've been as high as you can get.
Right.
And so But I believe that because we live in such a psychological mindset that it's so fixed based on our physical self, that drugs give people an alternative if it's handled well. You know, you have ayahuasca, you have peyote, and all these things. Ayahuasca and peyote are DMT derivative expanders. They cause the brain to dump serotonin, and it increases the power of DMT. And so I believe that people can experience either hallucinatory or the basic fabric of the universe. It's all about ceremony and tradition, Jimmy. You know, the nature of indigenous tribes, their spirit quest. And once you go on a spirit quest, and these are possibilities that you can touch the fabric of the universe. But a near-death experience supersedes and exceeds far beyond what you would normally think of as the fabric of the universe. I can listen to people who have had drug overdoses, who had near-death experiences. But when I listen to people who tell me these stories, and I knew Timothy Leary and Terrence McKenna really, really well, and those were some of the wildest conversations that anybody could ever have.
Yeah. Yeah,
when you listen to people, I can tell whether it's a real near-death experience or whether it's an hallucinatory event created by chemical and pharmacological reactions in the brain.
I want to end on this. I want to end on a bright note, on a fun note. Okay, did you when you were there, were you able to look down on the earth? Did you see the earth separately? Was it round? Was it a sphere? Could you look at the earth?
No. Never even thought about it. I wish the earth would go to hell. I wish it would have blown to smithereens. I wish Nibiru would have come around the sun and hit it so I would have never had to come back to it. I was not interested in any of that. I mean, I'm interested in it now.
Right.
Okay? I mean, because of everything you're ever told, 99% of it is an absolute constructed lie.
Right.
That's what it is. And I didn't care about the Earth. I think it's a pretty nice little planet to come and visit so you can get a little work done. But the sooner it's done, the better off I am. I'm out of here. I'm blowing this popsicle stand.
What do you say to the flat earthers out there that say that the Earth is flat and not round?
Party on.
Dannion Brinkley. Now, hey, do you? I love you, man. Do you?
Thanks, Jimmy.
Do you eat meat?
No, every so often I'll eat a piece of chicken. I mean, you know, but Thanksgiving I cook a turkey.
Okay.
And then I eat the whole turkey.
Right.
But mostly mine is fish and vegetables. I don't eat beef. I haven't eaten that in probably, 18 years. Pork. And every so often I want a piece of chicken. It's usually chicken wings.
Right. Nothing wrong with some good chicken wings. And why did you take red meat out of your diet?
Because I started studying no-waste farming. And once I saw what we're willing to do to animals and the no-waste farming, you know, organic and raised on the farm and all that kind of stuff, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't judge people who do that. Mm-hmm. But anybody who contributes to the way at which food comes to our table, the antibiotics, the steroids, veal, anybody who eats veal, I hope they burn in hell. But there's no such thing as hell, so I hope that they come to realize how evil that is. But I just did it because one of our Cat and I's daughters, she made us sit down and watch a no-waste farming film. Mm-hmm. And she's 100% vegetarian. I have like 3 of them. And then I have 2 or 3 heavy meat eaters. But Cat and I, Cat is vegetarian. She'll eat a little fish every so often. I need to have the cleanest and the fastest digesting food in my system.
Yeah.
And when you look at all the stuff that they pump into it, like, you know, think of this. And I know this is wrong, but I still like thighs. But I like chicken wings better than thighs. But what do you think is the life expectancy of a chicken on a Tyson farm, be raising chickens to be sold in a grocery store, like when you go to buy chicken and a whole chicken to buy pickage or thighs or legs, what do you think the lifespan of that chicken is?
I have no idea.
Take a guess. From the time the egg cracks.
6 months.
9 weeks.
Are you kidding me?
9 weeks, and it's on the way to the grocery store.
Wow.
And by the time it's 9 weeks old, it can't stand up on its own feet because the breast is so enlarged
Right.
based on what they feed them.
Yeah.
That's evil.
Yeah.
I grew up in the grocery business. I know what slaughtering is about. I mean, I grew up in all of that, and I just choose not to participate.
Dan,
I do miss a good ribeye.
I know you do.
But if I had to choose between how it got to the table and it, I would prefer not to have it.
Thank you for coming on tonight. 3 years is way too long, and we'll get you on here again really soon. And, of course, we'll see you in about 3 or 4 weeks up in San Francisco. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me, and I want everybody in the audience to please go to Dannion. We have the Brinkley perspective, and, you know, it's Catherine and I, just like you and Rita. It's just Catherine and I, and please, everybody, show up and give Kennica support, and please come and meet the other people. And I love each and every one of you, and thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you so much, Dannion. Be well. Keep rolling that rock uphill. Keep doing what you do. Dannion.
Hugs and kisses.
Oh, Dannion and Catherine.com. Thank you, Dannion. You have a great night. Give my best to Catherine.
All right, thank you, Jimmy.
You got it. Dannion Brinkley. Wow. Oh, man. San Francisco, New Living Expo. Dannion Brinkley. Be there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Angioprim can clean blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is liquid oral chelation. It's not new science. 50 years of research has gone into chelation, and now there's Angioprim. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. The first thing Angioprim users say is they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on now at angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better and doing more. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant or go to angioprim.com for help. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's Angioprim at 877-882-7221. Get the facts about Angioprim. Begin living the life you want, doing the things you used to do again with Angioprim.
Hello, Fadernauts. Are you looking for the ultimate Bluetooth speaker system? Well, check this out. The Studio Dome surround sound system, featuring the Studio Dome 1 SD1 and the Studio Boombox SBB wireless Bluetooth speakers, is the perfect way to get surround sound without all of the cable headaches. With its own hard shell custom carrying case for taking your surround sound experience on the go. Each hard shell case comes packed with an SBB, 2 SD1s, cables, and power. It's just $99, and you use the promo code Jimmy, and you get yourself some free shipping. Once again, Studio Dome brings you the best deal on the net. Anywhere. Just go to the Studio Dome banner, JimmyChurchRadio.com, promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm going to open up the phone lines. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm looking what is going on with Twitter right now. I have never seen these kind of tweets blast by. What is going on? Are you guys playing some kind of what's going on? Man, that's insane. You know, I dare not retweet. You guys are just clowning, all of you. And don't think I don't notice. Blip, 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 blip. You guys are tripping. All right. Opening up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. Of course, I want to thank Dannion Brinkley for an absolute amazing conversation tonight, an eye-opener. And, you know, the one question I didn't ask Dannion, the obvious one, you know, dude, what scares you? Are you scared? I mean, what scares you? Obviously, death doesn't, so you can take that off. What scares you? And I didn't go there, and I didn't want, you know, there's no telling what kind of answer I would have gotten out of Dannion. But, yeah, I mean, seriously? I mean, once you're struck by lightning twice and everything else in his life, what scares Dannion? I mean, nothing? Tra-la-la? Quoting David Bowie, whoever got that. I should have did something on Twitter with that. All right, Joe Garagiola has died. That's right. 9 seasons in Major League Baseball. And then, of course, he was a broadcaster out there forever. I think his last run was with the Diamondbacks. But Joe Garagiola, wow, 90 years old. 90 years old, Joe Garagiola. And, you know, for all of us out there, you know, us kids that grew up with him, I mean, it was just, you know, commercials, broadcasting, always on television. And there you go, man. We grew up with him. 90 years old, Joe Garagiola. Wow. All right. Speaking of, you know, you have a show like we did tonight and then that. But Joe Garagiola passed away tonight at the age of 90. All right. 323-825-5045. What did you think about the show tonight? And, you know, the thing is about Dannion, and I will encourage anybody that is going to be in San Francisco to go to the New Living Expo. And I'll introduce you to Dannion personally if you go up there. But there's one thing that you notice about Dannion. You don't even have to know who he is. And you don't. And you see him standing there. And you trip. You will stop and you will look. There is something about Dannion. Dude glows. He does. He walks around and this ray of sunshine is hitting him on the top of his head. And there's something about him. And you need to experience that for yourself. I don't know, man. I don't know. I have been around him enough that I can't help but just go up to him and talk and hang out. And because there's something that comes off of this guy, man. It radiates. And to see him engage with people and they just come up and he just, you know, will talk and that's what he enjoys doing is just talking. Dude won't shut up, by the way. As a matter of fact, I've told the story, but it's true. I have walked past him. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Dannion. What's up? What's up? Keep walking. Rita will be with me. And we'll keep walking, and he keeps talking as he walks past, and he's like that. He's amazing to be around. So if you'd like to meet Dannion, New Living Expo, I will certainly introduce you to him. He's an amazing magnetic personality. All right. Now, you know what? I'm going to get back to Twitter. Yeah, you guys are tripping. If so, is the train potty that is haunted. What do you guys, guys. All right. The British military have created a gravity scanner that may be also able to see through walls and underground. Now, this is according to the Ministry of Defense and their scientists, and the report was released today. Researchers made the breakthrough at the MOD's Military Science Park at Britain's Porton Down Laboratory. No joke. And all of our listeners over in England are like, yeah, Porton Down. Yep, that's where it happens. I think that's, 007, right? Okay. Neil Stansfield from the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory, the DTSL, which is responsible for the research, says that the scanner, check this out, freezes atoms, and it does that with lasers. It then gauges how they are affected by the gravitational pull of the objects close to them. This can apparently create a 3D map of an area. Now, listen to this. This is where it gets really crazy. From the national security perspective, the potential is obvious. If you can see caves, tunnels, rooms, through walls, and the device is impossible to jam or confuse because it doesn't send out waves of any kind. Listen to me for a second. We got a problem here. What is crazy is that this is covert technology. It cannot be detected. It cannot be seen. It cannot be felt. And it cannot be jammed or interrupted because it's immune to everything. What are the implications here? Great technology, obviously. But now this means that this device can be placed in front of a building and they can see through the walls and not be detected. You will not know that they are doing it. And if they are doing it, you cannot stop them. You cannot jam the device. That means somebody could see through your house from the side. They can see into your home from above. Being able to, now that's the crazy part. That's the FBI, NSA, CIA bad news part. Right? The local police department armed with this, bad news. I see heavy regulation somehow. So you really need to have the right kind of credentials to possess this, number one. And number two, the cool part of it is being able to see things that you just can't see underground. Egypt comes to mind. Göbekli Tepe comes to mind. Peru comes to mind. Mexico City comes to mind. Underground chambers and rooms and things that have been covered up for thousands, if not millions of years. Cave systems under the ground. Intricate cave systems that we don't know nothing about. Past societies, lost civilizations, and being able to go and find out. Let's go find out for real what's going on with the Bosnian pyramids. There's an example. Stuff that's going on underwater. There's an example. Alexandria, Egypt. There you go. All right, I get that. But it's the dark side that really, really bothers me with this technology because it cannot be detected and it cannot be jammed. And if you don't want somebody doing it to you, there's nothing you can do about it. And you wouldn't know it if they were doing it. That's right. Leave it up to the Brits to find the cool stuff, and then it spins out of control. All right. Here we go. There's a podcast out there by Pete Holmes. It's called You Make It Weird. You can go check it out right now. If you go over to our Facebook page, Jimmy Church Radio, you can check this out for yourself. Because Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers details a trip he made to the Garden State while he was a quarterback at Cal, right here, during which he says that he and a teammate saw a UFO. Now, in 2005, Rogers says that he was visiting fellow Cal quarterback Steve Levy's family in New Jersey as part of a trip to New York City. He didn't specifically say, by the way, what part of the state where this happened, but he goes on, and he goes on in detail. It's pretty crazy. He says that around midnight, they hear sirens. So they go outside. And now, by the way, you can go to the podcast. You can listen to all of this. You can read the transcription, too, as well, if you go over to our Facebook page. But you can also listen to all of it as well. I think it starts at about 14 minutes if you want to fast forward in. Did I say that? Okay. All right. But I'm quoting here. He says, it was large. It was orange. It moved from left to right. It was a left to right moving object. And he says that because it was overcast, right, that the nature of the night and the snow, you couldn't really make it out. It was behind the clouds we were seeing, but it was definitively large, moving from left to right. It was me, Steve, and his brother that saw it. He goes on to say, and it goes out of sight, and we look at each other and go, what the F was that? End quote. But check this out. He doesn't end there. He doesn't stop. He goes on to say, you could hear it moving. He says, in about 30 seconds after that, it went out of sight, and they heard the sound of what jet fighters make when it flies by. Rogers, who apparently is a UFO expert, by the way, said that there were two things associated with this, with other UFO sightings. A, the presence of fighter jets, which chase them down, check out what's going on, their proximity to nuclear power plants, one of which Rogers say they were near that night. And in typical fashion, Rogers went on to say, and I'm quoting here, in typical fashion, there was no mention of it next day in the media. Interesting. Aaron Rodgers. Got to get him on Fade to Black. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Nelson from Jersey.
Hey, Nelson from Jersey. Have you heard about this?
You're talking about the UFO you're just talking about?
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, okay. Because this happened in New Jersey.
Wow. I thought you said the Garden State. I wasn't sure if you did though.
Yeah, I think there's only last time I checked, Nelson, I think there's only one Garden State, and it's on your license plates. Okay, so so yeah, check it out. Go to our Facebook page, and the article is there. You can click on it, and you can go and listen to the audio. And after you do, I'm sure that tomorrow in newspapers and around New Jersey, people are going to be talking about this and trying to figure out what city he was in. I don't know how many nuclear plants you have there. I don't know, but he said this was next to a nuclear plant. So
yeah, there's one up by upstate New York. I'm not too sure of any in New Jersey, but I think there's one.
Okay, well there you go. Let's get to the bottom of it. Go check it out and get back to me, will you?
Oh, definitely.
All right, Nelson. All right, man. What's on your mind?
Speaking of things in the sky, I was scrolling through Facebook, and this is one thing I'm logged into, and I guess it was in China, but they've been seeing it all over the world. I guess silhouettes of cities in the clouds or something like that. Like, there's multiple places. I don't know if you've seen it at all, but it looked pretty interesting because there was a bunch of different places around the world that saw the same thing.
What did it look like?
It literally looked like buildings, like
Oh, that's
in
what
the
you're
cloud
talking
mist.
about. Yeah. That happened. Well, the big one was over. Man, I want to say it was Fushan. I might be wrong. Outside.
Yeah, it was in China. It was definitely in China.
Yeah, it was outside. I think it was right. I think it was outside of. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Nelson, but outside of Beijing is another city. It's called Fushan. I think that's where it was, and it was in the clouds. And then there was another one, but the big one that you're talking about that made all the sensation was in China. Now, this is what they are saying about that it's quite possible that the photographs and the imaging that we are seeing is real. Okay, but what they are deducing is that it was a reflection of the city below on moisture in the clouds above. So you're seeing a photograph, an actual reflection of the city up in the air, and it looks like it's in the clouds, but it's reflecting off of the moisture. Now, that's...
Yeah, no, I was going to say, that's what I was kind of thinking of, because wasn't there a gentleman, there were something about the Titanic and how, like, there was a whole special on it, and how the guy was seeing, like, a reflection of a ship on the water vapor and hovering above the water.
Right.
So I was kind of thinking maybe it was the same thing, but I didn't hear you speak about it at all, so I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, the problem that I had with that, because I don't know quite how it works, but it would seem if it was a reflection, wouldn't the city be upside down? That because the reflection is in reverse, right? And nobody seemed to bring that part up, so I don't know how this phenomena works. But what was trippy for me was that the scientists and researchers that made comments about it didn't poo-poo the idea and didn't say that it was a hoax and didn't say that it was photoshopped. And I thought that was pretty bizarre that there wasn't any like hardcore debunking going on, that it was, photoshopped and it was this and it could have been this or that. But to me, if it's a reflection, the reflection would be in reverse, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I'm not an expert, so, I mean, I like to get other people's opinions, especially about that. And one other comment, actually. Have you seen the new Sirius pictures?
Yes, I have. Yes, I looked at them today. Very interesting. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought they were very interesting as well. Just like the amount of resolution that came off these new images they just put out is phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. And they're calling it a water volcano, an ice volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The imaging, as far as being high def goes, are extraordinary.
I think these were the closest ones they've gotten so far.
But what I did find strange about it, though, Nelson? It looked nothing like the other series of photographs with the smooth sides where it looked like a greenhouse, like a giant glass-sided mountain. Now it looks very organic.
Well, there's that's a different crater.
You think
I
it
know
is?
which one you're talking about. It kind of looks like Space Mountain in Florida.
See, and I thought that was the same section of Ceres that they were, the lights on Ceres, that is what they were imaging today. There was no clarification in the articles that I had read that it was the lights on Ceres, and this is the same section. I just assumed that's what they were talking about because it's white, it's ice, and it's it's got the same general shape without the smooth sides that you're talking about.
The other crater, I think it's Oculus or something like that. I don't know. It's like it sounds kind of like that. I forget exactly the name of it.
Yeah, you're right. I'll look into that a bit more, and I'll see what I can find, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night on the show. And in the meantime, tomorrow night's Fader night, so go find out where Aaron Rodgers was and call into the show tomorrow night, man. Let us know.
All right, I'll look into that, man.
Thank you so much, Nelson. You have a great, safe night. Right. We'll see you tomorrow night on Fader night.
All right, take it easy, Jim.
Have a good night. Yeah, wow. Yeah, those images. And also the new gravitational images of Mars were just released, and you can go and check those out too, which were done with the gravitational changes that gravity has on the imaging satellites that are orbiting Mars. And the minor gravitational, microscopic, they ended up doing a gravitational map on Mars. Go check that out. Those images are absolutely whack. And just go check it out. And I'm wondering what it's going to look like with compared to the surface mapping, and then overlay the two of those. Pretty fascinating and very, very high resolution on those images too as well. Now check this out. A Democratic and Republican congressman have asked the National Security Agency to halt a reported plan to share more raw intelligence data with other federal agencies, warning the policy shift would be unconstitutional and dangerous. And this is according to a letter that has been sent out and leaked. The U.S. representatives are Ted Lieu and Blake Farenthold, who sit on the House Oversight Committee. They said in a letter dated March 21st, that's right, 2 days ago, to NSA Director Michael Rogers that the proposal would violate Fourth Amendment privacy protections because the collected data would not require a warrant before searched for domestic law enforcement purposes. The proposal would allow the NSA to share intercepted private communications with other U.S. intelligence agencies before applying privacy protections to the data. Bob Litt, General Counsel, scumbag, of the Office of Director of National Intelligence, says that the Obama administration is finalizing. Did I just colorize? Did I just give my own opinion right there? Well, I did, and I meant it. Is finalizing a 21-page draft of the new permissible procedures. The draft has not been made public. Yeah. Scientists at Cornell University have developed a metal foam compound that can change shape and then reform itself into rigid structure. This is one of the coolest things I have ever reported on Fade to Black. Sit back and listen to this. I've got 60 seconds to get this done. The material has the potential for many applications, but it's particularly promising as the next step in busy research field of Terminator robots. Yes, the T-1000 is officially right around the corner. The Cornell material could be used to create soft robots that can also turn stiff and rigid when the need arises. The key development is a hybrid material combining both hard metal and soft, porous rubber foam. The foam metal material also has the ability to heal itself. Yes, if it takes damage. I'm not making this up. And it becomes elastic when it's heated up, but regains its structural strength when cooled back down. The T-1000 is officially here. And this is Fade to Black. I want to thank Dannion Brinkley. Absolutely amazing show tonight. Cannot wait to get Dannion back on. He is going to be speaking at the New Living Expo at the end of April. All the information is over at jimmychurchradio.com. Of course, his website is DannionandCatherine.com. Links are at jimmychurchradio.com. Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew, the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to everyone who called in tonight. Thank you, Dannion Brinkley. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.